Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 445. Meeple Nation, October 2022 news.
That's just kind of fun to say 2022.
Yeah, it is. It's a good one.
Welcome, citizens of Meeple Nation. For the next 30 minutes, sit back and enjoy.
Meeple Nation is brought to you by Game Toppers LLC. So go to Game Toppers LLC, just how it sounds, .com. Look at the amazing product that they have there. They have game toppers. They have things to turn the toppers into their own individual tables. We just got done with DigCon, where Andy was gracious enough to bring all three of his tables because he had more tables than Nathan. They were a great addition to the tables that were available at DigCon. People were amazed at the quality. So go to their website, check them out, support Berkey, makes amazing product.
Speaking of websites, since you're going to jump over to GameToppersLLC.com, right after you get done there, jump over to MeepleNation.com. We have all of our blogs that we release on a weekly basis. We also have links to our past episodes and bios of each of us and each of our bloggers. We also have a link to our Patreon page on our website. We would very much appreciate it if you would jump over to Patreon and give any support to us that you can. We love what we do, and if you love what we do, we appreciate any help. Also, if you have any comments or questions, please email us at meeplenation@gmail.com, and we will respond to any inquiries or any comments that you have. We'd love to hear from you. Welcome to Meeple Nation. We are your hosts. I am Andy Holliday.
I'm Douglas Stewart.
I'm Logan Howard.
I'm Dave Holliday.
And I'm Nathan Howard.
This week we are talking about October news. As per the usual, we like to talk out. We like to start by talking about some of our highlights for the month, and then we have some new game announcements and crowdfunding that we'd like to talk about as well. Dave, why don't you lead us off? What were some of your highlights for the month?
I had a few things that were very awesome. First and foremost, Hug MeepleCon, as always. Loved it. Played some awesome games, hung out with great people, had some good food. There was one game in particular that I really enjoyed. It was one of the last games that I played. One of the last games that I played there was Cloud Age. Different than any other games that I've played recently. You know, I always love the new.
This is the one where you have the airships and you're trying to make it to the end of the race.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily a goal of making it to the end of the race, but yeah, you all start on the left side of the map. You are traveling from that side to the other side, stopping along the way above different cities, and you can attack those cities or you can visit them. There were a lot of unique little mechanisms going on in that game. It was definitely one worth checking out. I also had a good time at DigCon. It was really cool to have two little conventions, right?
Yeah, I saw you play a really fun game that I would never really enjoy, so I'm glad you got a chance to play it. Boggle.
Oh, that was awesome. Actually, I never get a chance to play Boggle. And I was actually really worried because it's been a long, long time and my brain has melted a lot since the last time I played it. Doug, your wife Lydia, wanted to play that with me.
Did she dominate you because she said she was going to?
She did not know. In fact, I asked her if she wanted to keep going, and she didn't. We ended up having close to 10 of us playing. It was a new game for a lot of people. That game can be hard for a lot of people, but in particular when you're new at it. Learning that you really need to be just fast as you can writing that stuff down. Porter, Richie's son, he was pretty good at it. You could tell the wheels were turning, and he wasn't writing a whole lot of things very fast, but he was taking his time looking for the big words. He found a few. I also got to play Ark Nova, right up there amongst the best games currently for me.
So good.
There's a new expansion coming out for that, Dave. You have to give that a
really?
shot. There's a new zoo pack coming out for that, Dave. It includes some new maps.
Cool. Actually used the new map for the first time, and it threw me off quite a bit. It was difficult. Really enjoyed every time I played that game, even though that was a horrible iteration of it. My first negative score. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Just in general, there was a lot of very fun and genuinely nice people to play with. We also got to explore Bardsong a little bit, and I couldn't be more excited about a game than I am than that. I can see that one easily becoming a favorite.
Logan, what were some of your highlights?
We were able to get Mansions of Madness to the table. Awesome game. Nothing more satisfying in playing a game like that doesn't have a good ending. It sounds weird, but for some reason it's so satisfying with the Cthulhu mythos for it not all to work out. We won, but the game did not work out well. And all it did was fill me with hatred for Ada. Yes, I am planning a D&D adventure where we hunt her down.
Logan told me he may even just do a solo D&D adventure just to hunt her down. He had some serious feelings after that game.
She must pay.
She lured us into a trap. She betrayed us, and she must suffer.
Yes, thank you, Doug. Mansions of Madness, I think, does such a great job. It's so story-based. And then Andy and I were also able to play Shadows of Brimstone at DigCon. It was a great opportunity because we wanted to play it at BGG, and so we wanted to play it and refamiliarize ourselves with the game, which was much needed. Wow, that game is awesome. Every time I play it, I'm like, wow, that is a great game.
Those were some pretty epic games of Shadows of Brimstone, which they can be, that's a fairly lengthy amount of time playing the game. So to play back-to-back games of that, I think we spent, I want to say at least 7 hours playing that game.
Yeah, I want to say so. Like the first fight in the second game lasted like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that was a very epic battle. So there were 5 of us in that game. So you pull from the epic threat cards. Every time I would pull an epic threat, it had me pull more and more and more. Every single card was draw another epic threat card, draw another threat card, draw another threat card. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. We ran out of monsters for some of them. Thank goodness they were duplicate monsters, because it would have been even worse than what we had, because we ran out of models for them. But it was insane how crazy that battle got. And it was our very first room that we explored, and it just filled up with monsters.
I wasn't really worried about Andy and I because we were playing our characters, so we leveled up and got some good equipment for. But we were playing with 3 people that were just playing it as a one-off. Threw them a character, threw them some XP, and started it. All they had was their basic equipment, and so I was a little worried there at first. But everybody pulled through. We won. Good times were had.
Well, and everyone was really excited about it afterward. They're cleaning it up after the convention was kind of over, and just talking to everybody who was in that game with you, Mike and Paul and my nephew, Isaac, yeah.
Yes.
And they were all really jazzed about it. So even after 7 hours of playing or however long it was, it obviously left an impression because everyone had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was a little worried about Isaac, especially like an hour into that first fight. He just had this look in his eye that was almost, what did I get myself into?
Well, I'm glad he played. He showed a little bit of interest. When I was talking to Lydia, she mentioned he wanted to play potentially, but he was a little too shy to come over and jump in or ask if he could jump in with us. I'm glad that he did. I'm glad he felt comfortable enough to come over and play.
Pathfinder, it's always a great time when we get a chance to play Pathfinder.
Yeah, Pathfinder's always good. My highlights are going to be similar to a lot of yours. DigCon was a lot of fun. We actually got Seth, your son Seth, Doug, we got him to the game table to play Return to Dark Tower. He seemed a little leery when we first sat him down, but he sat down and played, and as soon as we finished, even a couple times during the game, he's like, this is really a lot of fun. This is a cool game. So I'm glad that he sat down and played with us.
Yeah, we were driving home, and it was just he and I in the truck. We got, 30 seconds down the road or whatever, and I looked over at him, and he was just kind of shaking his head. And I was like, oh, are you okay? What's wrong, buddy? And he was like, oh, man, we really need to play that Return to Dark Tower game again. That was so good. Do we have that one? And I was like, yeah, it's like right on the top shelf. It has a place of honor on the shelf there. And so he was really excited about that. He wants to play that again. I'm glad you guys got him into that game because he loved it.
That is awesome, because I know he doesn't seem to be quite as interested in gaming. The fact that he enjoyed it that much, that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, he's hard to please, but he really liked that one.
Since it's October, we've been trying to play a few more Halloween games on the Friday night game night. We've been able to pull out Zombicide. We've pulled out, Logan talked about Mansions of Madness, Betrayal at House on the Hill. I usually get that out once a year, right around the October timeframe. So this play was really fun. Dave's wife played with us, Adrian. Even over at DigCon, she said her gaming highlights of all was shooting Richie in the face with a shotgun. During Betrayal at House on the Hill. So Richie ended up being the betrayer. Anyway, he lost. In fact, he didn't even get a turn. As the betrayer, he got destroyed.
That's awesome.
Well, that haunt was hilarious.
It was so... We either had a chance to give hugs or to kill him, and we decided that it was going to be a lot easier to kill him.
Hugs with bullets.
Yeah. Definitely a different haunt. It was from the expansions, but it was very unique. So at Hug a MeepleCon, we got to play Teotihuacan. Got to play that with Julie and Monique and my daughter Amara. And I have forgotten how fun that game is. It is a great game. And I own it. I just don't get it to the table very often. A little bit of a brain burner trying to figure out exactly how to get your workers moved around the board. Try to gain as many benefits of the areas in the center of the game board. Great game. I ended up pulling out a win on that one, which surprised me. I thought Julie had us. Got to play Descent 2nd Edition with our friend Jared. Our friend Jared's not a board gamer at all. He is of the opinion that board games are called board games not because they're played on a board, but because they're boring. But he comes over and plays RPGs with us. We convinced him to play Descent, 2nd edition. He had played it one other time. He had kind of enjoyed it. He thoroughly enjoyed it. If we can get him to at least start doing some more Dungeon Delver types games, maybe other games will grow on him. I'm not sure. Maybe that's a tall order, but that would be awesome if we could actually pull that off.
Surprises me with Jared. Descent would be right up his alley.
He does like it.
Because he doesn't really like role-playing games if there's too much role-playing.
Right. He likes the battles, which is why we thought the same thing. And I'm not sure why he had mixed feelings about it the first time, but he really did enjoy it the second time we played.
I think more than anything, it's because it's a board game. He can't admit that he likes one. I think that's ultimately the big reason.
So it's kind of like Andy in online games.
Yeah.
No, they just aren't very fun. So,
all right, Jared.
You know my feelings about that. I might like it, but I don't have time anyway. I've actually gotten to play quite a few games with my kids this last month, which has been so much fun. Between the conventions and just playing games at home with my kids. In fact, we busted out doing Imperium last night, and I played that with my daughters and with my youngest boy, Caden. 2 of the 3 were like, okay, we got to watch the movie, and this was really fun. We need to play this again. And my daughter, Sierra, she was one of those. She took 2nd place, and she's like, I think I would enjoy this a lot more if I knew the lore behind the game. Funny you should say that. There are lots of books, and she's my reader. Dune is amazing. The books are amazing, so you should totally read them, so I think she will. I got to play a game that I picked up at SaltCon end of summer, and that was Photosynthesis. I'd been looking at it for quite some time, so price was right for a used copy at the convention. Picked it up. It was great. Last thing, got to meet some new friends that have been coming to game night, and that is Skylar and his wife, Laura. It's been a fun addition that they've been coming to Friday night game nights.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, it's been really good to get to know them. Both really, really excellent people. I played Photosynthesis one time with my wife. She destroyed me so badly, and it was kind of one of those like runaway leader things. I did not feel like I had any way to catch up. When that game was done, I kind of wrote it off.
Visually, I actually very much enjoy Photosynthesis, from the 3D board to the shadows. I think it's a great little game.
Hug a Meeple Con was great for me because I was able to get my wife to attend. And not only was I able to get her to attend, I was able to get her to drive to Harriman with me to attend. For me, was a big win. We missed the first day because we had a scheduling conflict with a play that we had planned in advance, which ironically was a half hour away from Harriman, but we had to drive all the way back home and drive back out the next day. But that's neither here nor there. I got my wife to go to Hug a Meeple Con, and she had a ton of fun. We played 10 games there, played games with Linda. She sat at the table the whole time with us, and we just played games together. It was a blast. We've got to play Awkward Guests. It's a deduction game where you're trying to decide who the villain in the story, find clues to identify this person. I really liked this game, and I thought I was on point, and I was way off. Dave, your wife, drove all the way to Harriman, which is a 90-minute drive, to play one game and then turn around and drive home.
Actually, she wasn't even going to play a game. I made her come in to play. She agreed to go because I convinced her that she had to take Sierra down. A bunch of stuff just blew up at work for her. And so she was like, well, I have to take Sierra, and then I'll just turn around and go back. And so that was her plan, was actually just to drop Sierra off.
And
But
she's
then
a
I was
trooper
like,
to even do that by itself, especially since I was going the same way at the
Right.
same time and totally could have taken Sierra.
yeah.
But don't tell her that.
And then I convinced her to stay and play.
And she was on point on that game. She totally knew what was going on. And I was off playing some other game, it seemed, because I had nothing that they had. Apparently my deduction work was way off. And Cheryl was right there behind Adrian. She had just one faulty piece of evidence that she was trying to correctly identify. We got to play some great games like Night of the Ninja, played some Project L, played Calico with Sierra, Andy's daughter. She did really well in that game. Funny thing is I got Amara to play last week with me, and she did not want to play this game. So we're sitting here trying to decide what to do, and he's like, well, do you want to play Calico? Because it was on the table. She's like, no, I don't want to play that game. Played another game, and I was like, do you want to play Calico? No, I don't want to play that game. So we played a third game. We played a fourth game. It was like, okay, we're going to play Calico now. And she was just grumble, grumble, grumble. And she really enjoyed the game afterwards. So it was kind of funny. She was like, well, I want to play a game where I'm going to destroy you. So I'm going to play Gizmos. So let's play Gizmos. So like, okay.
Wait, were those her words?
Yeah. She wanted to destroy me in Gizmos. It was just her and I. I did the destroying and then played Camel Up. And I totally thought I was going to destroy her in Camel Up. And she blew me out of the water. Take that kid to Vegas. She was just winning everything. Every leg she was getting like 9 pounds, and I would get 6. I'd get 5.
Wow.
And she ran away with that game, and she had a lot of fun with that too. And then the next night, I got to play 5-Minute Marvel with Amara and Sierra and Corbin, who was an interesting lad, to say the least.
Yes, he is.
Thinks he's got life figured out. Good for Corbin.
Yeah, he's 12. So,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
he thinks he has life figured out.
Yeah. Played 6 games of 5-Minute Marvel. Pretty fun. It was great because I'm like, okay, Amara and Sierra, teach me this game. And I'm like, okay. And then we started the game. And I'm like, okay, nobody told me anything was going on. They're whipping out cards and flipping over cards and throwing out cards from their hand. And I'm like,
What's going on?
what are we doing here? I mean, it's only 5 minutes because it has a timer on it. And I bet it was 2.5 minutes before I played my first card, try to help anything, because I had no idea what was going on.
Wow. We need to work on their teaching skills, apparently.
I think they thought I knew how to play.
Oh.
And so they just kind of jumped into it. About halfway through, I knew what was going on. So the next 4 times we played, I was involved.
So did you end up beating Thanos by the end?
We didn't fight Thanos. We lost the first game, and to be honest, I don't even know who the big bad at the end of each scenario that we played. Too busy trying to draw cards and be productive and be helpful to the team. I think that's age thing that I just don't react as quick as they're just throwing cards out, and I'm like, I gotta, oh, okay, it's gone.
Oh, that was 3 cards ago.
Yeah. But it was a blast. I enjoyed it. You guys got to play Bard Sung. We had Brian Hirschbeck come over to teach us how to play Bard Sung. And then I quickly realized that we were going to have way too many people here. Andy, make sure you bring Amara, and her, I, and James will play on the other table and let you guys play Bard Sung over here. You guys played Bard Sung 3 times. Amara, I, and James played 7 games together. So we had a blast. Game night the next night, Porter, Amara, Sierra, and Corbin played some more games. I thoroughly enjoyed my time. Got awesome kids. Been playing a ton of games with my wife still. She is now my 3rd most common opponent in games since tracking games. Logan had that spot for a long, long time, but she has since passed Logan. She's got my oldest daughter, Ashley, who doesn't play games with me anymore very much. I would say likely by the end of the year, she will be my number 2 opponent that I play games with. It's been awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to play games with her. We sat down and started playing some more Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. That's on my 10 for 10. We went through the campaign story, and then there's just some one-off episodes that you can do. So hopefully we'll get through those. A lot of gaming going on.
It has been a fantastic month for gaming for me. I'll try to get through some of these highlights a little faster because there's a lot of them. We mentioned this briefly in one of our Halloween episodes. It came up that Arkham Horror, the card game, is my all-time favorite game. And I recently made some new friends, Matt and Monica, who also play Arkham Horror. And so we've been getting together once or twice a month to go through some of those campaigns. We're currently working our way through the Dream Eaters campaign. That has just been an immense amount of fun. The thing about Arkham Horror at this point is it's been out long enough that the card library is just thousands of cards. To jump in at this point is a little bit daunting. I think a lot of people play this as more of a lifestyle type game. It's really fun to play with people who know that library and have been playing it for a while and kind of know the ins and outs of the game. Been able to play it, I think, at a little bit of a higher level than you would if you were just teaching it to new players or folks who haven't played it quite as much. So that's been an awesome experience for me this month. Also, Hug a MeepleCon was absolutely fantastic. The Hug ladies, they are just the sweetest, most amazing people. Genuinely fun to be around. It is awesome that you guys started doing the Hug a MeepleCons North and South every year. I have thoroughly enjoyed those conventions, and this one was no different. It was fantastic. We got to play Keystone North America, new one that I really enjoy. Taught that to several new players. I think, Andy, I taught that to you this last go around, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
What did you think about that one?
I thought it was very interesting. I liked some of the game mechanics, the different cards that are coming out, and you're looking for those combos. The fact that you have your tableau that you're building that has to go in order to score the most points. I love the puzzle aspect of it.
It has that unique system of trying to create the most efficient ecosystem in both rows and columns.
Right.
And getting that to work is really difficult, but it's also really satisfying when you get the right card in the right spot.
Yeah, and if you get those endangered species on there, there's just a lot to it. There's a lot going on in the game. With the tiles that are flipping over that you can choose, instead of getting a card, you can choose to flip those tiles back over to gain the benefit from the tile. Anyway, there's just a lot going on in the game.
So that one was really good. We also had a chance to play Role Player Adventures for the first time at Hug a MeepleCon.
I forgot about that. I didn't put that in my app.
Cooperative dice placement combat. Really interesting. It had that very distinct role player vibe with what I thought was a pretty enjoyable and fun story. Definitely one of those choose your own adventure style. You pick this path, this other path is going to be cut off to you. I had a good time with that. We played that one with my nephew Isaac as well.
Kind of surprised that it didn't. Like you said, it had the role player vibe, but it was not role player. I was concerned, I guess, maybe not concerned because I love role player, but I was thinking it was going to be role player with story, but it really wasn't. It was very different, much more so than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I did too. That one's a lot of fun. And add that to our growing pile of campaign games that we need to get to and finish.
The ever-growing pile.
Yes. Also had the opportunity to play Wingspan with Wendy and Dead Men Tell No Tales with Claudine and Brad. Had an excellent time, especially with Dead Men Tell No Tales. Claudine and Brad were so fun to play with, and they were just cracking jokes, and we were really getting into the whole pirate theme with that one. Excellent time at Hug a MeepleCon. That was a real highlight for me. One of the other big highlights this last month, I had 2 ginormous boxes show up to my house. And this was my Oathsworn Into the Deepwood Kickstarter that finally fulfilled. I pulled it out, and it's essentially 4 huge coffin boxes full of content. It took me about a week to get through the rulebook and to learn and to figure this game out. What I ended up doing was setting up 2 tables down in the basement. So this takes up 2 of those big lifetime tables to set up and spread out over. I've been making my way through this game, and I have to tell you, it is growing on my list of favorite games of all time faster than I think any other game has. This game is absolutely fantastic. It has this really cool, grim, dark fantasy setting where the last vestiges of civilization are being encroached upon by the Deepwood, this forest of rotten decay that spawns these monsters and horrors and all kinds of creatures that come out and attack the villages. And players are going to take on the role of these Oathsworn, these heroes that have made a pact to defend civilization against the creatures and monstrosities of the Deepwood. The game comes with 21 chapters, and each chapter plays in 2 halves. So you have like a story mode, and then you have this big encounter mode that's like a skirmish style game. The writing is fantastic. The art is absolutely breathtaking. The skirmish mode is wonderful, has one of the best AI systems I've seen in a really long time. Very interesting characters to play. This is one that I'm going to insist we get to the table sometime very soon, because this is a really excellent game.
I was going to ask, why is it just sitting in Doug's basement on tables for solo play?
Did you forget the part that, did you forget what I just mentioned about the growing pile of campaign games that we need to get through?
Ever growing. Yeah. Throw another one on the pile. Come on.
If I play it solo, I'll at least get through it. Oathsworn Into the Deepwood, absolutely fantastic. And I really can't wait for you guys to check that one out. I think based on the playtime we've had together, that's one you will all really like quite a bit. Had another Kickstarter fulfilled, Flamecraft. Me and my son have really been enjoying that one. Brigham, when he saw this, it has this cutesy, almost anime style of art. And the concept is it's this village full of these little dragons that are sort of helping forge iron and different sort of routine tasks around the village. I would almost describe it as community engine builder style game. When he saw this, he just lit up and he was like, can I open this up? Can I get the rule book out? Can I learn this? I just turned him loose on it. Later that night, he taught it to me, and he and I have played several games of that since. And that has been really a lot of fun. Flamecraft's very cool game.
That's awesome when you can get your kids to start reading rule books and teaching. I think that's great.
He did a great job. In fact, he got a little ways into the rules teach, and I started asking some clarifying questions. He was like, oh, no, it's right here. He was pointing stuff out, and he was like, well, it's on your player aid, Dad. It's right there. I was like, oh, starting him off early. It's great. Also, just Halloween games in general. I think I'm with Logan. I think Logan and I are kind of kindred spirits on the love of Halloween season and Halloween games. Been able to get quite a few of those to the table, and that's been a lot of fun. And then, of course, DigCon. We threw this together at the last minute a couple of weekends ago and had a pretty good showing. Got a lot of fun games to the table. I thought it turned out really well. We used my wife's school, played there in the cafeteria. Andy brought over his game toppers. It was amazing.
Everybody loves Andy and his game toppers. D6 hate me.
The only downside to DigCon was Andy texted me the next day, hey, I brought Harry Potter so we could do the epic Harry Potter battle. And I was like, no!
Yeah, I totally brought that thinking, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to do the huge epic Harry Potter battle, and I spaced it. I got blinded by Shadows of Brimstone.
That's a good one to be blinded by, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Besides, we need to break out the Harry Potter game at, midnight, 1 o'clock? That's how we keep Logan going.
Who said if you broke it out at noon that I wouldn't stay and play a game anyway?
True.
See, the hard part is breaking Harry Potter and then keeping other players there instead of them going,
I like the game, but yeah, if it's bedtime, it's bedtime.
So those were my highlights for the month.
Well, that's our highlights. Let's go ahead and talk about some new games that are coming out. There's a long list. I compile this list every episode, and we get to maybe a fifth of the list that I get. I mean, we usually end up talking about 1 or 2 games, maybe 1 game a piece. There's a lot of games on this list that both excite me and intrigue me. We just need to come up with some way to release this information. I don't know, maybe we put it in a blog or something like that. All these games that we found, and maybe there's some games on there that you're interested in. If that information interests you at all, let us know on our email, meeplenation@gmail.com. Reach out to us on our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air, and let us know if this is information that you would find intriguing. If it is, maybe that's something that we'll start doing, is we can provide this list that we come up with. Other than that, we're just going to talk about some new games.
can I talk about a new game that's not on your list?
Sure.
My Call to Adventure Origins is being fulfilled and shipped, and I am so excited for that game. Expansion to Call to Adventure is compatible with all the other versions, except they designed this version as you play, you're building a D&D character. It has the conversion chart. You just take it, add stats, your character's created. I am so looking forward to this. I've loved the Call to Adventures. I so want to do a one-shot where we sit down, play the game. That's your character.
That sounds awesome.
You know what would be so fun is to play Call to Adventure Origins and Role Player and use the combination of those stats and character backstories to create a D&D character.
And then we hunt down Ada.
And then we hunt down Ada. I'm excited to get this one to the table too, Logan. I also backed this, and it should be showing up soon. I really like the Call to Adventure system. That's a great game.
They did such a natural step with this expansion to where they were already building characters, they're already telling story, kind of a natural birth of D&D character after playing the game.
Sounds like we got some awesome plans. I want to talk about a game that I believe, Nathan, you already own this. We haven't played it yet. But I am really excited and intrigued by this game. It's Twilight Inscription. Twilight Inscription is a roll and write, but it's a roll and write that is a 1.5 to 2 hour game, which is crazy to me because every roll and write I've played has been just a quick, maybe half-hour game and you're done. So for it to be that long of a game, and I love the Twilight Imperium universe anyway, which is what this is based on. It's rated 7.8 on BGG. It's 1 to 8 players. I hope it doesn't fall into that category of it plays up to 8 players, but really shouldn't be played with 8 players. Hopefully the player count doesn't increase the length of time. Typically with roll and writes, it doesn't.
You use that word typically.
Yes, this is very unique. I'm really excited for this. The weight of the game is 3.2 out of 5, so it's medium to heavy on the weight side for a roll and write, which once again, every roll and write I've played has been the light side. So I am very intrigued by this. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm interested in it for sure. I hope it doesn't make me hate roll and writes.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to give it a shot.
I just like how they've seemed to have broken the mold of the roll and write.
Well, they kind of broke the mold when they did Twilight Imperium,
For
too,
sure,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
You made an excellent game last
10
6
hours.
Yeah.
Depending on who you're playing with, my last one was 10 hours.
I wasn't playing.
Dave was not playing.
Just imagine what it would have been like if Dave had played.
It was Dennis and Everett.
So I've got my eye on a little game called Woodcraft. This is by Ross Arnold and Vladimir Suchi of Underwater Cities fame. Dave, this looks like one that I think you would really like. The description for this says, in Woodcraft, you play as forest people running competing workshops in the woods, with you gathering wood and crafting goods for your customers. Along the way, you hire helpers, improve your workshop, and buy different types of wood and other tools to create the best workshop you can. During the game, players complete their projects with wood represented by dice that can be cut down to size, glued back together, and adjusted using dice manipulation to be as efficient as possible with their resources. I like the theme of this. This isn't a theme that I think is used very much. It seems kind of new and fresh. And also Vladimir Suchi's just amazing. He makes great games, has a really good mind for it. I enjoy the stuff that he does. So I've got my eye on this one. I believe this one just came out or is about to come out. It should be hitting pretty soon. This has a weight of 3.6
Wow.
on BGG. It's a little heavier, but it looks great.
Sounds great. Game designed by Aaron Midhall and Elon Midhall, called Beast. Kind of an interesting new theme, I guess. You are in the northern expanse where nature is still unexplored and it's mystical and dangerous. You're there to hunt crazy beasts. It actually fits in different categories. It's a deduction, fantasy, fighting, and horror themed game. Hand management, drafting, but it's an open draft. So a little bit different there. Hidden movement, secret unit deployment on it. So there's a lot of different mechanisms there than what we typically are playing. It sounds pretty interesting.
I love party games. I love getting together, having laughs, interacts and engages people, produces laughs, humor, good memories is always on my list of games to play. Something that I can take to a barbecue, play with family, play with those people who aren't necessarily heavy gamers. And there's a new game coming out that's called Fun Facts. Fun Facts is a 4 to 8 player game, lasts about 30 minutes.
I was worried there for just a split second.
A 48 player game. Each round in Fun Facts, a question is placed in the center of the table. For example, how long is the perfect nap? Then everybody secretly writes their answers on a colored arrow and places that arrow face down on the table in front of them. Then as people have all their numbers out there, the group, you're going to try to decide, you're trying to determine the order. So like I'm trying to say, oh, Andy likes naps. So Andy's going to say, I can say like Andy likes naps. So I think Andy's going to take a longer nap than I am. Well, Doug's not a nap kind of guy, so Doug is going to say nothing. As the table discusses, you're trying to determine appropriate ascending order of these guesses. In this example, how long a perfect nap is. After the table has come to a census, then the arrows are flipped over. Then any numbers that are out of order are removed, and the remaining arrows are how many points you score that round. You'll play over 8 rounds and try to get a cumulative score, so it's a cooperative game. Everybody's playing together to try to master this score. There's elements in this from Wits and Wagers. There's elements from
Apples to apples.
Apples to Apples, Just One. I'm always intrigued how they can take elements from this game and that game, because it's tough to come up with a new mechanic. As many games that are coming out each year, it's tough to come up with something unique and original. But to be able to manipulate those mechanics into something different, have something that can still be enjoyable, fun, entertaining, memory forming is great. And I think Fun Facts is going to be a great game to do just that. Fun Facts is going to be on my shelf and on my table soon.
So over on the crowdfunding side of things, there's a few that I'd like to just bring up and mention. Simon Games just announced Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown. There is almost nothing known about this. They released really vague little 30-second teaser trailer on YouTube, and there's a preview page up, but it doesn't really have any information. This is going to be a brand new standalone game in the Cthulhu Death May Die series. What I'm really hoping is that they offer a reprint of the original with some of the Kickstarter exclusives that I was not able to get my hands on the first go around. So I've got my eye on this one. They said that the campaign for this will be launching very soon, so it might even be out when this episode drops. Watch for that if that's something that you're interested in. That's over on Kickstarter. If we make our way over to GameFound, launching on October 18th, Destinies, the Witchwood expansion. Long ago, a pact was made between man and the dwellers of the wood. By the terms of this agreement, men should keep to their villages and paths, scattered throughout the vast forest like embers of light. What lies beyond belongs to other, older masters, creatures of ancient magics, who don't look kindly upon trespassers. Despite the pact, daring souls still choose to explore the woodland labyrinth in search of adventure, treasures, and secrets. Welcome to Witchwood, adventurer, where your destiny awaits. This one's exciting to me because I absolutely love the Destinies series. I think Lucky Duck did a really great job with those. This one's kind of fun because what they did was they threw out a poll to the people who play Destinies and who had backed that. And they asked, what do you like more? More historical side adventures or kind of the more fantastical, mythological type stories? And the response was overwhelmingly the more fantastical, mythological stories. So I think the next step in what I think will probably be a long line of additional adventures for the Destiny system, which I'm really excited about. So October 18th on GameFound, go check that one out.
I would like to bring up a crowdfunding game. This is called Oil Town. It actually launches on November 1st. Competitive card-driven dice placement board game from Pio Games, designed by Anton Jankowski and features traditional hand-painted watercolor by Yayoi Jankowski. The American Wild West, 1890. After a tiring trail, you have finally arrived in Oil Town, a boomtown that attracts pioneers from all around the land that its never-ending flow of black gold. With your allocated drilling rights in your hands, you gather a bunch of helpers and set foot on the intimidating oil field. After walking around for a while, you notice that the dowsing rod suddenly starts to twitch. In this moment, you realize it's time to strike it rich. I really like dice placement games, even though D6 hate me. Just trying to figure out what you have rolled, how to make the best of your turn. Pretty much every dice placement game I've played, I've enjoyed playing. I'm excited for this one. This is a relaunch, guaranteed to fund, so I'm very excited to back this game and get it.
That one sounds really interesting for sure.
All right, well, we are out of time. So again, if you want to see the rest of the list that we have, reach out to us at meeplenation@gmail.com or on our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air.
Until next time.
We'll see you at the game table.
As always, we want to thank you for listening. Check out our website. We have all sorts of cool things there. Love those blogs. Get a deeper look into the writing side of Meeple Nation.
Join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. I look forward to seeing you there.
Follow us on Twitter @Meeple Nation. We also have Instagram.
Under the same name. We also want to thank our sponsor, GameToppersLLC.com.
We love their product, and they have so much goodness out there.
And we also want to thank Braiding Detergent for our music.
Meeple Nation Podcast, episode... I'm going to take over.
Hi, that was good.
You were on top of it, Dave.
I was inspired.
I was totally... shut up.
Meeple Nation.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, try that again.
First time was so much
Redo.
better.
What's the opposite of nailed it?
Started out exciting, ended a disaster. We also have a link on our website to our Patreon page. We appreciate those who have supported us and continue to support us, and would love for you to support us, what we do. If you try that again. This is always the hardest part.
Are we gonna have
Always the
another
hardest part.
another what was it that he was stuck
Talking
on?
about discussions
Talking
and
about
discussing
discussions.
what we're talking
No, we're
about.
not going to do that.
Okay.
So for me, we did hit... And that's it. I'm done.
Next time.
Till next time. Game night the next night. It was Porter Amara, me, and
Sierra.
Sierra and
Corbin.
Corbin. Thank you. So it was Porter, Amara, Sierra, and what the hell is this kid's name? Corbin. I'm pretty sure typically is not going to be a part of this game.
Wait, what sure are you?
What did I say?
It's a word that I can't say.
Well, then we're over it. If you can't correct me, it didn't happen.